As one of the central characters in the game, Yuna's determination to defeat Sin was impeccable, as she was willing to go to great depths, even defying Yevon, in order to reach this goal. Despite the obstacles that stood in her way, with the help of her guardians, she was able to not only overcome the terror of Sin, but discover a way to defeat it permanently as to prevent Sin from returning. One other person had this exact same goal, her own father, Braska. In fact, he faced nearly similar obstacles from a social perspective as similar to Yuna, although it's safe to say, at least from our knowledge, that he did not have any direct obstacles such as a madman who was looking to become the next Sin and deliver destruction to the world of Spira. It was more that the decisions he made during his time as a Yevon priest led to the disdain from his colleagues and the Yevon religion. But without these decisions, Yuna would have never been born, and we would not have enjoyed Final Fantasy X the same way with anyone else. We will be exploring these aspects and more as we take a look at the lore of Lord Braska. Lord Braska was born at least 35 years before the events of Final Fantasy X. He was born and raised a Yevonite and believed in its teachings. Based on his actions, it doesn't seem as though he was as much of a fanatic as someone like Wakka, but more on the likes of Kelk Ronso, where he focused on improving relations between the races. However, Braska's pursuit was far more ambitious, as he sought to improve the relations between the Yevonites and the Al Bhed. While this was admirable on his part, this would have been a very difficult hill to climb, as the Al Bhed and Yevon have always been at odds with each other, dating all the way back to the Machina War, where the use of Machina and the resulting impact it had on the world of Spira resulted in its creators, the Bador, the ancestors of the Al Bhed, to be looked down on by Yevon and was blamed as the reason for the war starting in the first place. In his pursuit, Braska made frequent trips to the Al Bhed home in Bikanel Island. During one of his trips, he meets an Al Bhed woman, much to the disdain of Sid, the woman's brother. If you're interested, you can find out about the lore behind this woman on this video, which I will have linked in the description below. The two eventually end up marrying, and as a result, he fathers a daughter, who grows up to become the main female protagonist, mirroring Braska's journey in a sense. Unfortunately, this union causes chaos with Yevon, as Braska is now seen as an outcast from a social aspect due to his willingness to wed an Al Bhed. Ironically, it is this prejudice that drives Braska for the rest of his life, as when his wife died due to an attack by Sin on her way back to the island to reconcile with her family, Braska decides to embark on a journey as a summoner to defeat Sin in order to prevent anyone else to experience the pain that he suffered when he lost Yuna's mother. When looking for guardians, he kept in mind his own status as an outcast of Yevon, and he eventually found two guardians that fit the bill. He first recruited Auron, a skilled monk who was poised to be in a high position, but refused to take the hand of the daughter of a high-ranking priest in marriage, resulting in him losing that opportunity. Then at some point after recruiting Auron, he heard of a man who was jailed for being a drunk claiming he hailed from Zanarkand. So Braska paid this man a visit and then recruited Jet, despite Auron's suspicions due to his claims and his drinking addiction. The trio of three outcasts in the views of Yevon embarked on their journey to defeat Sin. To no surprise, nobody believed they were capable of vanquishing Sin due to their social statuses in Yevon, as if that has anything to do with their abilities in combat. While we are unable to create an accurate mapping of how their journey would have gone in terms of what order they acquired the Aeons on their way to defeating Sin, we do see fragments of their journey through the spheres in various scenes in the game, and it sure did come with some comedic moments, especially having someone like Jet in the party, who would often do things such as striking a shoe puff when drunk and force Braska to pay for the damages, resulting in Jet to quit drinking. The drunkenness of Jet and the stoic and calm Auron provided a good balance with Braska as he focused on his pilgrimage during their journey. We know that Braska always kept Yuna's best interests in mind when it came to his journey, as when he visited Besaid as part of this journey, he wanted to ensure that Yuna be taken care of there to grow up, as it is an isolated place away from the influence of Yevon. That, and he enjoyed the scenery and nature of the village. We also see the love and support he has for Yuna in the Sphere recording, to the point where he was willing to support her no matter what she did in her life, despite him not being there physically with her during her childhood. The climax of their journey is witnessed when the party reaches the Zanarkand ruins, where memories of Braska and his guardians are revealed. In this scene, we see Auron pleading for Braska to turn back as they knew Sin would not be fully destroyed. Despite his pleas, Braska held on to the hope that there would be a chance Sin would never come back. Jet decides to become the final Aeon for Braska after realizing he would never be able to return home to Zanarkand. Before the two go to Yunalesca, they make Auron promise to take both her children, Yuna to Besaid and Tidus to Zanarkand, before going for their final battle against Sin, presumably in the Calmlands, the only area big and secluded enough to engage in combat with Sin. Auron's pleas turn out to be true, as after a short time after defeating Sin, it returned, with Jet now serving as the new core for the armor, making Braska's direct journey in vain, but not ultimately, as his daughter embarks on her journey and eventually ends up permanently vanquishing Sin, reaching his ultimate goal through his daughter. While Braska's story overall was rather tragic, he never lost hope, and in fact, he used the change in social status to drive his journey and influence the decision he made throughout his journey that led to not only the completion of his pilgrimage, but also to ensure Yuna lived a good childhood in preparation for her following her father's footsteps in becoming a summoner and fulfill the wish her father never managed to complete. That concludes the tale of Braska. What did you think of his overall role in the story? Did you wish we would have known a bit more about his pilgrimage, or the information we received from the game and other sources were efficient enough? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Personally, I think I was not as invested with him compared to Auron and Jet, but that was likely because he wasn't as directly involved in the storyline as the other two were. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave this video a like and subscribe to see more lore content. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and that, as they say, is that.